Today's recipe is going to be a Gelée de Roses. Some people call it rose confiture, but it's really a gelée because a rose is really not a fruit. One thing very important is that you try to find rose petals. You can buy them dry, which are bio. There is specific bio stores and you can buy the petals. The problem with roses is that if you buy them from the florist, they're beautiful many times, and some people make potpourri with them, but when you're gonna consume them, when you're gonna eat them, the problem is then they have already pesticides. These flowers, in order to be kept beautiful, they were used pesticides in order to kill the insects that make them look bad. So it's not good for consumption. It's very dangerous actually. So try to find a place where they have bulk foods and look for rose petals which are bio. They have absolutely no pesticides whatsoever. In this pot I have 2 liters of water which are beginning to boil. When you begin to see the bubbles from the base, they begin to form. Then in this time I have 300 grams of rose petals. I'm gonna put them in 2 liters of water, boiling water. You can use a metal or plastic spoon. I don't like metal against metal. Somehow the sound is very disrupting. Okay, so we're just gonna give them a good mix. Rose petals, the moment they hit the water, they begin to smell very, very nice. The smell of rose is gonna go through the whole house. They need to boil approximately 30 minutes in order for the rose petals to be soft, in order to be edible. If you don't give it the 30 minutes minimum boiling time, then the rose are gonna be chunky and they're not gonna have a good texture to bite. We're gonna use them mostly for desserts. So about 30 minutes. One thing is very important. I always try to save jars. Every time I buy a jar with something, I don't throw them out. It's best to save them and try to recycle them. It's very good for the environment. The earth has already too much garbage in it. So I always have a second pot with boiling water. Very important to get some metal tongs in order to place them in. And this boiling water is to sanitize the jars. Of course, the jars have been already properly washed. Also, of course, the lids, once they're washed, you place them in the boiling water and they sanitize at the same time. Okay, so now it has already been for about 30 minutes. It's pretty much dissolved. You have to put just maybe get a leaf in the back of the spoon and just pinch it. And when it dissolves when you pinch it, that means it's ready. When it gets to that level, then we're gonna add on the sugar. I'm going to add on 2 kilos. Usually the 1 kilo of sugar should match 1 liter of liquid. And then of course we're gonna give it a very good mix until it dissolves. To make sure all the grains, when you run the spoon to the base and you hear this little scratchy sound, that means the sugar is not dissolved yet. You have to let it very, very well dissolve. At this point, at one time the jars are already boiled and sanitized. Then I place them usually to just drip upside down in order to get the liquid, in order for them to dry out. Once they're dry, I put them usually in a bowl in order not to burn yourself, because when the gelée is hot, or confiture, it burns a lot because it's sugar, of course. So once you have it on the jar, with a spoon, you fill them up course trying to get most of it, all of it in if possible. This we need for a sauce. This is for decorating cakes, so it's a little bit softer. If you want it for a gelée that is going to be used on meats or on bread, on toast, then you make it just a little bit thicker. All you have to add is a little bit more sugar when you're cooking it. Once it's there, it's a matter of closing it and washing it. One time they have cooled down, upside down, then I'll pick up the jars and we're gonna decorate them in order for them to make a nice gift. So once I use always leftover fabrics or things that I don't need, and I cut them with the zigzag scissors in order to give it a zigzag look at the end, and it's not gonna tear off into threads. You place it on top in the middle. Then with a rubber band, you secure the top. Oops. I'm gonna place it again. And then I usually lie it down just to have a good grip. With a ribbon, I have some silk gold ribbon. I take about this much, about 4 centimeters above the distance from the lid. I cut, place it again, lie it down, one knot, and you have to do the second knot in order for it to be secured. Then just make sure the top is covered, and the little, I call it a little skirt, this little skirt is evenly placed around the sides of the jar. In order to cut the rings, I use a saucer upside down in order just to get the diameter and then more or less round form. So I'm gonna cut the butterflies. This one, the opposite side. Just put it in the middle, hold it on the top, and cut in an angle, going inwards. And there you go. So there we have a very delicious and pretty gift. Gelée de Roses.